Well, happy Boxing Day and welcome to this special edition of the podcast. Today we're talking about the highs and the lows of 2024, my biggest deals, my biggest fears for 2025 and how we can overcome them. JB and I are joined together as we do this Boxing Day special. See you in a sec. Welcome back, gang. Hope you had a wonderful
Merry
Christmas Day. It's Boxing Day now, isn't it?
Merry Boxing Day.
Merry Boxing Day. Yeah, we had a lovely day yesterday with the family, didn't we?
Did you? Yeah. Both of our families together. It was lovely.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe how much turkey you decided you didn't want to eat this year.
I know.
Do you know
we look lovely?
Do you know the origins of Boxing Day?
Yes, it was for the staff of Victorian people, and they would get a box of goodies.
And it was the only day off that they had.
Yeah.
What are your staff doing? Do you still give them Boxing Day off?
No, no, definitely not. No.
No. Well, are you open? You must be open 365, aren't you?
What's open on Boxing Day? The Rossi Parlour is definitely open on Boxing Day.
It's a big day for it, isn't
the
it?
hotel is definitely, one of the biggest trading days of the year for us is Boxing Day.
Hotel open over Christmas?
Hotel is open on Boxing Day.
Christmas Day as well?
Yep.
So you are a 365, 24/7 entrepreneur, non-stop these days.
There we go, baby. Can we, I'm wearing a nice little Rudolph next number.
Yes.
And you come as a green carpet.
Yep.
Can you just show everyone, look at this, ladies and gents. Look at that.
All the way. I've gone all the way.
There we go. And he wonders why his wife doesn't sleep with him.
I don't wonder. I know why. It's nothing to do with the outfit. So we thought in this, by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, can you vote who's got the best Christmas jumper? Thank you very much.
I think you're going to win, JB.
Do you reckon? Yeah, but you look like that. Looks kind of stylish. I like the fact that your shirt that you've gone for looks like it was all part of the same set as well. I don't know whether you're going on a camp safari or you're having a Christmas celebration with that shirt on. Should we talk about the year then?
Yeah, let's talk about the year
that was 2024.
What are we doing? Favourite guests first of all?
Yeah, shall we?
Entrepreneurs that have been on. So we've had 108 entrepreneurs on this year.
Yeah, 2 a week, yeah.
Yeah, roughly. And there was a few specials we put in, but definitely over 100.
Yes. Because we had the Cadbury's special and the Daniel Priestley triple episode special.
Not included.
So they were good episodes, though.
They were bonus, so yeah.
They were
definitely.
bonus episodes.
We very rarely give 8s. You know, we grade our entrepreneurs at the end of the show. On the 8 traits of the greats, we'll just remind listeners what they are right now.
This might be your first time of finding us and you're like, what the hell is going on here?
So there's the 8 traits, starting with the end in mind, passionate about the cause, whatever you're in, untold amounts of resilience, innovate or evaporate, commercial awareness, relationships with people, master marketer, stay teachable. Now, number 5, commercial awareness is quite broad. It's knowing your numbers, it's knowing your profit and loss, balance sheet, margins, gross profit. So we tied that all in on that one. 2 have got it.
All the way to the top.
Do you remember who the 2 were?
They were Gemma from Herbal Dog.
Yeah, and Gemma from Herbal Dog Co., the TikTok sensation.
And Leo Dack from Dack Motor Group.
Well done, JB.
He came to our Leicester Square Theatre. He had to come and get an award.
He won an award.
We've got to give Gemma an award, haven't we, live next year?
Yeah,
you can book your tickets right now, guys. June the 9th.
Well,
2025 at Leicester Square Theatre. Get your tickets now. JamesSinclair.net. Leicester a pair of Nikes to come to Leicester Square. That's the tagline, isn't it?
Well, I think if you add in your travel, it'd be more than a pair of Nikes because it's
never let the truth get in the way of a good story. That's what I say. See you there.
Well, I'm so impressed with Gemma's story that I reached out to her and got the okay from Chance. We are going to go up and make a video for the main YouTube channel.
Oh, that will be
how she runs her business. Especially because she's done very well in the TikTok space and built over £1 million worth of sales in TikTok.
Yeah.
And I was only talking to her about
40 grand a live feed, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. And she's got great branding, brilliant entrepreneur, very good. My next favourite, I think, and I know they're doing very well since they've been on the pod, is Holland's Outdoor Country Clothing.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember them?
That was a great episode. Yeah, Matthew
Family
Holland.
business.
Yeah.
They still like each other.
That's right.
Because
he's the sort of the key shareholder, isn't he? Or the majority shareholder, but he's got to keep the other siblings. When you actually look back, and we were doing that before we came on, the amount of amazing businesses that we've spoken to this year, And the ones you're like, oh my God, do you remember that one? Oh my God, do you remember? There was the AV company that was doing £500,000 per employee and they had like 20 odd staff.
That was a great business.
That's a brilliant business.
But the Hollands one, why I'm so proud of them, just because some of these big companies, they come to my events and I keep up to date with them on WhatsApp and stuff. But Holland's Country Clothing have had a record trading period in December. They've implemented lots of what we said on the podcast.
Oh, great.
And it's going like gangbusters. It's really working. I think, they won't mind me saying that they're a great family business. So if you do want any outdoor country clothing, please go and support any of our guests that are listening to us. But certainly Holland's Country Clothing, really good business. Can't wait to see what they do. Any other favourites you've got? I
loved Australian racing tours. Do you remember Australian racing tours?
Yeah, I do remember that.
That's like a niche business that was doing a couple of $1 million per year, and he would take them to literally take them
high
to
net worth individuals.
That's right, to like race meetings. He'd do something like Ascot and some at Epsom, but mainly it was in Australia. But yeah, that was a great business. Briggsy the Butcher.
He was got a young kid, started
23, 24.
Used vendor finance to buy it. Just go.
Second shop, up and running.
Where were they based?
Scotland somewhere.
Scotland it was, wasn't it? And they were in a tourist town. And we told them to go and do some old school marketing.
That's right.
Brilliant. One of my other favourites was Robin. Do you remember?
The joinery, Robin Johnson.
We were telling him, well, you should go and start doing a personal brand. And then he just went, well, I suppose I do host a TV show on BBC One. And we went, oh, yeah, that would give you a head start. Do you remember? He just said,
He didn't tell us in the pre-chat or anything, did he? It just came out straight away. I'll tell you another one.
Can we just say that? Not BBC Radio.
Yeah, BBC One TV show.
The one that's probably the only thing that's still getting views on
Homes Under the
TV.
Hammer, and then his TV show, which he just sort of dropped into conversation. A couple of other favourites I had. Perfect Footwear. The two Scottish lads in Glasgow who had that whole thing of like, well, let's make people think something excited's going on.
Great.
And they had bouncers on the doors on their shop. Do you remember? They would tell us on a Saturday afternoon. Pizza Post. The two brothers who were doing the pizzas at events and were doing a couple of £1 million, and then also were donating like 3/4 of their time to the church as well. So they were like 23 years old and part-time running a £3 million pizza company.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many. I mean, I'm just looking down here now.
Mad, isn't it?
What about this one? Do you remember the fish business, but it's got family politics? They're doing £1 million.
That's right, yeah. He'd taken it over from his dad, hadn't he?
Yeah. £12 million importing business needs help on the 1st of August. £12 million started almost 50 years. Let's have a look at this. This business is also sat on £3 million worth of stock. Oh, that was the food business. Yeah. And I think they were trying to do an MBO. I mean, there's so many, isn't there?
Amazing business. If you've been one of our businesses that have come on this year, thank you for like being so open, transparent, and giving us the time.
And helped a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, one of the previous episodes, I don't know whether it would go out before or after this one, but there was the guys who were doing the custom van builds. They completely changed their model because they listened to your YouTube content. They're like, the model's not right. The model's not right. The model's not right.
What about this one? The American entrepreneur that bought the catering business.
With a government fund. Yeah.
Bought a 1.25 million business with a government loan, but he lived like a 6-hour flight.
He'd never been there. He'd never met any of his staff, had he? He bought a catering company.
Yeah, lots and lots.
And did you remember the other American guy, which we could never really get to the bottom of? He'd done like 80 grand the year before, then turned 12 million quid, he reckoned. And we were just like, really? Yeah. Really? And a load of people on YouTube were like, this sounds like BS to us.
And then I did one on my own, which we put on there with James Cadbury, descendant of the Cadbury
I remember
family,
that. It was good.
I know you watched it. And that's a fascinating. He declined a Dragon's Den offer.
That's right.
Built a £5 million chocolate business. Yeah. And is losing £1 million a year.
Yeah.
And he went, that's what I plan to do.
Yeah.
Rightio.
Yeah, good on you, mate. And
he wants to fund the losses. And he said, once it gets to 20 million, it'll start working. I'm like, bigger balls.
If you would like, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, or even leave us one of the comments, if you'd like more of those like deep dive interviewee ones where you grill business owners, because I thought that was really interesting. And I remember doing cutting the grass.
Chuds and I, we will do that if we find genuinely interesting people.
But I think people who have gone quite far in business, I think you doing a conversation that isn't just like, okay, so tell us about your business for PR value, but like actually grilling them and going, why did you do that? Like, why are you willing to fund million quid losses for how long can you fund it for? You must have some back in somewhere. Like, how's it like that? I really enjoyed it.
There you go.
But I have to be careful because we had a YouTube comment the other day, which was, I used to like it before. JB's just turned into a big fan of James Sinclair. It's a bit sycophantic. I've always been a fan of James Sinclair.
Oh, thanks,
I'll always
mate.
be his number one
I've
fan.
always been a fan of you. I did we did a Dodge Woodall, and that was another one-to-one deep dive on how he built his festival business.
Yep. No, I like that one as well.
Who's
been your favourite? I think, I know you shouldn't have favourites. Guess like your children, you shouldn't have a favourite, but we know we all do. I think that Gemma was hard to beat. Yeah. She was amazing. If you haven't yet listened to the Herbal Dog episode, go and check
Very
out.
much so.
Brilliant entrepreneur.
She's definitely up there. But the one that you mentioned earlier about the pizza guys, I just found that. So that came out on the 1st of April. They were selling 2 million quid's worth of pizza.
That's right.
But they were quite religious, the two guys. And They worked for their church Monday to Friday till 6 o'clock, and it all just came out on the air.
In the last 10 minutes, like, oh yeah, we don't want to get busier because we can't donate any more time to the church. So they were full-time working for the church, weren't they? Yeah. And then doing this on the side.
Yeah. And they just built,
but
they built that £2 million worth of sales in quite quick order.
Yeah,
they,
2 or 3 years. One of them was still at university, I think.
Yeah.
They
were just doing that weekends and evenings.
That's right, yeah.
It's worth going and listening to that because they really grabbed Google PPC by the horns and converted that into.
Yeah. And the other one, that AV one where he was having £500,000 revenue per head, like how he had built that and how small the sector was, but how he had really like double down into it. That was worth listening to, I think.
Yeah, it's I think what we should say is we don't verify anyone that comes on. We just assume what people are telling us is the truth.
Yeah.
But
we're
you have to do your own research.
We're not trying to be investigative journalists. We are just having a conversation with people and trying to help and support them move forwards with their I've had a lot of people who've been on the pod who've connected with me on LinkedIn, and you can see they've actually taken the advice and pushed on. I remember Nick from Ginger Wizard, who was the podcast producer.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And he had just left the BBC for years and years and years. Yeah, don't they? Yeah. When they fall from grace, they know where to come. So that's our favourite podcast
Well, I think
episode.
they're falling from grace. It's just that mainstream media is a dying thing, isn't it?
Oh, 100%.
It's becoming the dinosaurs.
Yeah. I listen to Chris Evans on Virgin Radio sometimes when I take the kids in because I'm normally listening to podcasts.
Is he back doing that then?
Yeah, he never really left. He had a couple of weeks off from Radio 2 and then he went straight back onto Virgin. So Chris Evans used to own Virgin Radio back in the day.
I did know that. Very entrepreneurial guy.
Yeah, very, very smart guy. And he owned it so he bought it from Branson. So Branson owned it and then he bought it from Branson. And the whole like rock and roll football thing that he started literally was an idea that he had on a Saturday afternoon in the bath. It was like, let's just do this. And just sort of, and done that form of broadcasting. Anyway, he was on Virgin Radio the other morning and he was talking about the BBC. And he wasn't slagging it off because he's very grateful for everything that's done for him. You know, he's at Radio 2 for 13 years. He got to be the breakfast show host after Terry Wogan. You know, cites it as a great organisation. But he's like, but it has got to change. He's like, he said, I cannot think of the last time that I watched a BBC programme. They cannot continue in this country to charge us a licence fee for content we just simply do not take. In a world of Netflix, Prime, Disney Plus, where you pay on demand for the thing that you actually want, you can't be expected in this day and age. And he's like, why are they not? He said, do you know what they should be doing? They should run adverts just on Christmas. He went, imagine between, he said, that's right, they were talking about how good the billing was yesterday at the time of recording. So they had like Gavin and Stacey, Call the Midwife, a new Wallace and Gromit that had been exclusively made for them, like a load of other great programming. He was like, imagine if they just sold adverts just for one day. They sold adverts for one day and they just went commercial. And he was saying it like tongue in cheek as a joke. But he was like, actually, they make so much dough, then we wouldn't have to pay a license fee anymore. Yeah. So to your point, I think that mainstream, well, it got proven this year, didn't it? About getting political. Look at the Donald Trump, Joe Rogan effect. Like that the effect of that was real.
Podcasting absolutely helped Donald Trump get the
100%.
I think it probably gave him those 3, 4, 5 million extra votes that make all the difference.
Those swing states, that's where they reckon it had the most.
He won the whole vote by about 6 million, didn't he, I think?
Yes.
Which is, in 330 million people, whatever they've got, 350, I'm not sure. It's not actually that many, is it? but it was just enough. And
and it's where he won it as well. It's those
Yeah.
swing states where they're like, these ones could go either way. Like there's very obvious, I guess it's like the UK, there's very obvious blue and there's very obvious red. But those swing states.
Although I do think that is changing as well here in the UK. If you look at what Nigel Farage has done in building a personal brand, there's arguably Nigel Farage is the internationally best known British politician.
Yes.
Boris Johnson would be there.
Yeah.
I think if you went
probably one of the most powerful because of that personal brand and that
I think if
fame.
you walked down the street in America and said, name me 3 British politicians, I think, or 5, I think they would say Tony Blair, Margaret Thatcher, Boris Johnson, Nigel Farage, and then they might know who the current Prime Minister is.
Yeah, maybe.
Because how many American politicians do you know?
Oh, none other than Trump and Biden.
Yeah. And Camilla Harris, I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
I think it's really, if you are known, if you're well known and you have a personal brand, gives you a very competitive edge.
Yeah.
As long as you've, haven't done anything
untoward.
Okay,
so we talked podcasty stuff. Let's have a look at the rest of 2024. You bought a company every other day, wasn't it? I think. I mean, I lost count. You lost count. We all lost count at some stage. You vertically integrated it, but you bought a few bits and bobs, didn't you, this year? Cafe Deli, that was your biggest deal to date.
Biggest turnover deal. I agreed to buy the freehold of one of my main businesses, which was a 10-year reps and sets asking to buy that.
Really? 10 years of asking?
Yeah, I managed to get, that was the Marsh Farm freehold.
Right.
So that was, getting that over the line was a really big step for me. I think I already
Why was that a big step?
Just because I had a very long lease on it, but I wanted to own the freehold. I used to get frustrated building a building on something I didn't own.
Yeah.
And, long term, I was putting lots of money into it and I needed to own it. It's not like just a warehouse. It's something that has continual CapEx.
Did you get it across the line before you built the dinosaur park then?
When I bought the business and I took the long lease, I made sure that was written into the lease that I would have first right refusal to buy the freehold.
Right.
And they would have to discount all of my improvements on it. And I just persevered and persevered and persevered. So that was a very good thing. I bought a couple of commercial properties, I'm sure. I've had a very active, bought another nursery. I've had a very active year, very busy year, a challenging year as well. Challenging year. Overheads are still very difficult, and going into the new year with Rachel Thieves' budget is going to be even more challenging.
Rachel Thieves. Is that the rebranding that you're going to?
Yeah, I mean, I don't talk politically on the podcast. And I haven't done it for a long time, but on this, on that one, because it is so damaging to our country's economy, I do say my piece on that.
Yeah,
I'm not. I mean, she asked to meet me at the Rossi parlour. I've actually, in the edit, I'll put a picture of her outside Rossi eating an ice cream with some senior label officials, and I decided I didn't want to go and meet because I was busy, and she wouldn't do an interview for YouTube. Just wanted to have a chat. And I said, well, I'm busy, so I wouldn't do it. But I wish I did now, because I would have told her, be very careful what you do with taxation, because it's going to make the economy smaller. I get what she's trying to do. She's trying to raise money to invest in the NHS, but the NHS can't manage its own money. It's so inefficient.
Yeah.
They're just going to get more money that's going to be taken from taxpayers, and in my opinion, waste it even more.
Do you think we'll see anyone step into the Elon Musk role of Department of Government Efficiencies over here? Do you think there's going to be?
We've got 4 years, JB, haven't we? They've only been in 5 months at the time of 6 months, maybe at the time of recording this. So we can say all those things, but you've got to get through the next 4.5 years, and I think it's going to be very difficult. But people are going to give up and sell up and get out, and that could provide lots of opportunities. But
that's been a a repetitive story of 2024, isn't it? The amount of talent that we are losing as an island to a Portugal, a Dubai.
Yeah, it's really bad.
More sort of prevalent tax havens.
It's very, very sad.
What's been so you said that the Cafe Deli deal is the biggest turnover deal to date.
And it's a very good, profitable business. What that allowed me to do was just vertical integration on a catastrophically good scale, literally overnight. So on the other side of this building where we record this I've got another warehouse where we manufacture ice cream and we was doing our food distribution from. The food services part of our business wasn't as good as it could be because it didn't have the volume. We were doing £1.5 million on that, £1.5 million on ice cream. Buying Cafe Deli, we bolted that £1.5 million to their 10 million of turnover, making that business overnight bigger, using their experience, their economies of scale. And now we distribute our ice cream into London each and every single day. We don't need a transport manager, a warehouse manager over here. They've got so much better systems and processes. So overnight, that acquisition allows for massive savings at Rossi. Cut hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of revenue. And I do think what government have done now with this much higher national insurance and stuff, you're going to see lots of mergers and acquisitions so that companies can survive. And that's my worry, is we just become a country with lots and lots of big, massive corporate conglomerate companies that can absorb this stuff. And it's going to make it much harder for the SME. And we need the SMEs because they're tomorrow's Dysons, they're tomorrow's JCBs. And we've got to be careful.
Absolutely. You mentioned there that it was the biggest turnover deal because it was a big, already established, profitable business. And I know you've spoke about this a few times on the pod before in terms of your previous model was go in, fix, improve, crack on. This was already a good business. So this is a good to great rather than a turnaround situation. What sort of different mentality did you need to go into this with as opposed to your, hey, you've got a problem, we can fix it. Here's my brilliant team. Don't worry, we'll keep you going sort of thing. When you go into something that's already really good, how do you deal with it differently?
Well, let's look at Rossi. Rossi Manufacturing was a turnaround business. It was losing hundreds of thousands of pounds each and every single year and had done.
Is that Rossi Ice Cream?
Manufacturing, the brand.
Right.
Yeah. So the shops were profitable. The two main shops that were left, and we've bought them back as well.
Right.
They weren't really problems, but the core manufacturing business didn't have the volume, didn't have the scale to get economies of scale on transport, on good people, on manufacturing, on overheads and stuff like that. And still at 4 years in, it's still losing money. And I've had to find other ways to fix the business. Add a bakery, dilute the transport by buying Cafe Deli. Now, it will turn eventually and it will become, and we've got some great deals lined up to make ice cream for other people, but still hugely challenging. Now, Cafe Deli on day one, every day, £50,000, £60,000, £70,000 worth of sales every single day. Good customers, brilliant supply chain, good systems, processes and operations. And those things, that's the difference. And whilst they didn't pay loads of money up front for Cafe Deli, and I'd done a structured deal and took on all of their debt, from a cash flow point of view, it's caused me a lot more pain, whereas Cafe Deli paid all the money up front, but immediately it's adding positive cash flow to the business, even after paying off the investment that I put into it.
So when you go into something like that that's already working and they've got skills in areas that you don't, you mentioned like the distribution and the facilities, and they can get you into places that you hadn't been before.
Yes.
How do you integrate that skill set?
I think that's the big difference, what you've just alluded to there. Cafe Deli, when we bought it, gave more to the existing group. When we bought Rossi, the existing group was giving more to it.
Yeah.
Weirdly, we had a brand that was worth a lot and everyone knew the brand locally, and that was very valuable. So yeah, I learned a lot through that. And
now that you've done a good to great purchase rather than a turnaround, would you ever go back to turnarounds?
No, I think we'd always look at both, but sometimes it is better just to buy a good business and pay a fair price. And if you can improve things 10% on a good business, that can make you a lot more money than mass turnarounds. But sometimes you do these mass turnarounds when you start out in the beginning, you don't have the money to go and do these deals.
Yeah.
But actually, there are great businesses right now owned by baby boomers that you can go and buy that are just fantastic investment deals. They would, you know, if you've got some time, that will beat anything that you put into a bond, into the S&P 500 or the FTSE 100. You know, you can go and buy great businesses and get your money back in 18 months.
Those baby boomers are sat there right now. I mean, at the time of watching, just going, I can't be bothered to start again in January.
Yeah. So I've got like 23 probably good active deals I'm looking at.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm buying another attraction that we're at heads of terms on that we'll announce next year. We're going to do accommodation next year in a big way.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
So like
I'm talking about another hotel.
Another hotel?
Another importing brand that we're putting into Teddy Tasty. We're buying a huge warehouse that we will complete very soon, 100,000 square foot warehouse. We're looking at a coffee roasting company, vending machine companies, all of these things that I'm looking at that can vertically integrate into what we've got.
Wow, we were.
There's some more as well. I mean, I just can't.
No, we won't go down the political route again. But given, you know, what this year's budget was, those 23 deals that you've got in the pipeline, does it put you off at all when you see what's going on?
All of the deals are to look for savings and efficiencies, and everyone wants to earn more money, mate. That's the problem. You know, well, it's not the problem. I get, you know, but if I don't make more profits, I can't pay people more, invest more, and the march of increased overheads. I'm trying to grow bigger to make sure I can pay it all. I've got to find another £2 million to give Mrs. Thieves from April onwards.
That's a lot of dough, isn't it? What's your, if I was to say, what do you fear most about 2025?
Overheads.
Is overheads?
Yeah, everything that the government are doing to destroy businesses, I'm worried about.
To the extent where, are there any of the deals?
And I've never been worried about that before like I am now.
Really?
You've never known whatever the government have done. Is that just
the scale that you're at now? Because obviously every 1% hits you harder.
Before the government was an irritant that, you know, oh, that's a bit unfair, but we can absorb that. I think a lot of businesses are not going to be able to do this. And they're going to, I think we're going to see a rise in youth unemployment. I think we're going to see the poorest people in society punished the most.
Which is exactly the opposite of what
people
a Labour government are there to do. Yeah.
People giving up and going, I'm not doing this. I'm going to sell up and move abroad, and they'll take all their talent and brain out of our UK economy. It's really worrying. And then people say stupid things like, well, let them go. Let them go elsewhere. And, you know, don't be stupid. You want as much
talented
talent
people.
and risk-taking people in your economy as possible.
What's of the 23-ish deals that are sort of active right now? Is there any that have been kiboshed or like put on ice a little bit because of changes?
Well, no, they're very active and want to get out.
Right.
They all want to get out before April, before the next round of tax changes.
So is there any of those so that's actually going to speed up the process to do those deals potentially? Yeah,
I think people, they will be running businesses and thinking, I'm just turning money here.
Which goes into one of the 8 traits of the greats that we always talk about, like, do you know your numbers? Because if you don't, you can so easily find yourself just turning cash, and it's not until you take a good, hard forensic look at those numbers, you go, oh, wow.
It's going to be harder, but there will be opportunities and we will get through it, but...
Because that's always your, like, where there's a challenge, there's an opportunity. That's always sort of like your thing. But do you get to a point where you're just like,
certainly, I think this budget is going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah. Is there any deals that you were looking at that, based on what's coming down the line in April, you're like, nah, I'm not touching that one now?
Well, one of the deals we're looking at is buying some vending companies, because I think we should be looking at vending more to reduce...
Vending as in machines?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like where you can self-serve coffee and stuff like that to reduce our labour costs, because I think labour's just...
Really?
There's something is getting people to want to work in those hospitality jobs in the UK.
Yeah.
It's becoming far more challenging. People just don't want to do them like they used to do them. And
So are you very proactively looking at things to reduce labour costs then? Is that one of the big sort of things?
I want high revenue per employee businesses as much as possible.
So does that become now one of your key metrics? I know it's like £1 million of turnover, established management team, some moats around it in terms of establishment.
And high revenue employee per employee would be one of them, I think, yeah.
Has that always been one that you've had?
That isn't a hard and fast rule, but that would definitely be, that's nice.
Right. But if it's not there...
Looking at Cafe Deli, for example, it's a £10 million or £11.5 million business, and it's probably got 35 key staff.
Right.
If you look at a childcare business, if you had 11.5 million turnover, you would probably have 400 staff.
Yeah.
That's the points I'm trying to make.
So would you...
But higher margin in childcare, lower margin in Cafe Deli.
So as you build the portfolio, you're mindful to make sure you're doing a balancing act all the time of you've got things like food services and...
But you never can have it all, like this business that makes all this stuff, we call it JSE. We've got 3 full-time equivalents, but no one could ever buy this business.
Yeah.
It's a revenue business because I'd have to go with it.
Yeah.
And it's all about my voice, my personality and my teachings. But, like a lawyer, when you come to the end, you might have a share in the partnership, but that's it, isn't it?
Mm. What are you most excited about for 2025?
Some of the acquisitions we're making, I'm really excited about. I think with all the doldrums, I'm excited about some of the things that some of the clients we're bringing into Teddy Tastic. Really cool.
And what will, at the time of recording, obviously we're doing this a couple of weeks before Christmas. We talked on a previous episode. No, we've not got together on Boxing Day Live to do this. Sorry, just got to pop out for a couple of hours. We're going to Essex again. What is that week between, because we talked about this on a previous podcast. This is actually one of your favourite times of year because
it is.
Because you get like that quiet time, people are not on the phone. So what will you do to reset?
What I was saying, if
refresh?
I go on holiday and do something like that,
the world's still spinning.
The world's still spinning.
Yeah. It generally slows down for this week and this week alone, doesn't it? What will you do to reset and recharge in this?
I'd probably do some potter and veg out on the sofa and watch some movies. And, I will do some then big strategic thinking, but because my brain is rested, I'll,
think better about it.
Yeah,
do you still do the golden picture frame?
I will redo definitely that as well.
So tell people what that is. Tell them what you do.
Chuds, can you just bring my laptop over? Actually,
have you done a video on this? Is it in Entrepreneurs University? Maybe.
I always say at seminars, and I think if you're watching this would be a really good thing for you to do. Get yourself down to the Range or B&M, and buy yourself a photo frame, an A4 one, and type.
I've done this before.
Type the things that you really want to achieve. And I was reading this to Chad. This is my list that I did.
Oh, is it for this year?
For this year.
Amazing.
Well, yeah, for the...
and the ones you haven't quite ticked off, you just roll over into the next year, don't you? I remember you telling me.
Yeah, because sometimes things take some time to do. There we go. Look at this. He hates my desktop. I find all these. I just don't close anything. Bosh.
A million emails. Can we have another 300 grand for some more ice?
Yeah, absolutely, baby. That's it. I can't. It's not letting me.
By the way, while he's finding that, if you are watching this on YouTube, please, genuinely let us know in the comments because we love hearing from you guys who watch the podcast and follow along. Even if you're listening to this, feel free. You jump over to YouTube. In fact, Chuds can put a link in the show notes on the podcast so you can bounce over to YouTube. Leave in your comments what is your biggest goal for 2025. I'd love to know that from everybody who's watching and listening. What is it? If you've got a big business aspiration, are you going to increase staff? Are you going to increase turnover? Are you going after profitability? What is your big goal for 2025? Let us know in the comments because you guys who are generally watching this podcast are a great level of entrepreneurs. It'd be great to hear what people are planning for 2025.
Right, it's coming up. Don't worry. Here we go. Oh, look, this is just
Search for the name of it. What's the name of it? Surely it's like goals or something, isn't it?
Goals. There we go. Here we go, baby.
What's it saved at? Oh, James Sinclair Greatness.
Oh, no, that's... oh, there it is. Oh, no, this is my May goals. I mean, I can't find it, but basically, a lot of them were covered off, and I think the power of writing it down.
Yeah. And you have it on your desk.
So like the buying the freehold of Marsh Farm is repeated on there year after year.
Yeah.
But it won't go back on next year. But I make sure I write it every flipping time.
That'd be a satisfying one to tick off the list.
Because sometimes you can't get it done in the year, but just put it on to the next year. But most of them I get done. Like I wanted to get 100k YouTube subscribers. You know, writing it down, making a document with yourself, I think is really important.
Yeah, I like it. If you were,
what about you? Have you had a good year, JB?
I've actually had a really good year. Yeah.
Are you happy?
Didn't look like it was going to be a good year in the middle of the year, but it's gone. It's turned. The tide.
And you want to go again and build a big team again?
Yeah, but do it in a different way. Because again, I don't think one of the benefits of doing this podcast, and people who are watching and listening to this can probably attest to this, is that you can't be around content like this and not absorb it if you come back to it consistently.
Yeah.
Like there's only so many times that I could sit there and listen to you say to people, do you do a monthly P&L? Do you do a monthly P&L? And I was like, oh, you really should be doing it, because he keeps telling everybody. And as soon as I started doing it, the third month that I'd done it, it was like, turning money here. And then making that decision to realign.
Well, that's the thing about monthly profit and loss. Some of the best things that it can do is it gives you the ump.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And then it makes you change things.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it did. And it would not have been had I not been doing this podcast and listening to the content here, go P&L. I was like, right, I've got to do that. So, yeah, it's ended up being a great year in the end. I'm happier now than I've been in the last 4 years, I'd say, 4 or 5 years. I think that's probably one of the biggest differences. But I know what you're thinking, guys. You're thinking, well, that was a slightly drab and depressing episode. I don't know if I feel elevated. I was looking for some Boxing Day cheer and some joy. I know what you're thinking also. You're probably thinking, oh my God, are you not going to do your normal features? You know, that's what I turn up for. Hang on. Can't be Santa knocking at the door because he came yesterday. It's time for this. Don't worry, guys. We've still got the business quiz.
It's Jim versus JB on the quiz this business.
If you've been playing Christmas games when we're here.
Which one's clever and which one's dumb?
I love a Christmas game. What's your favourite Christmas game?
Oh, I like Uno.
Do you?
Yeah. We like playing. What's the other game that we play? Oh, we've been playing it loads, and I can't think.
I taught Louis yesterday. Connect 4. He was off school ill.
Oh, Cheat. That's the game we love playing.
Cheat.
Bullshit. We call it. I shouldn't swear, but that's what we call it.
Oh, okay.
And our children always they're allowed to say bullshit.
Brilliant.
Got good at it, yeah.
Right. We have got. Sorry, Chuds is going to have to pass me the.
Oh, we got 2, have we?
I got a double because it's a Christmas special going.
It's a Christmas special. I already did this one. How many miles of wrapping paper does the UK use every Christmas? Oh, that's a hard one.
Oh, that is hard. Okay.
Oh.
How many miles?
How many miles? I'm just having a stab in the dark here. I'm going 1 million miles. What have you got, Chuds? JB?
I'm going to go 600,000 miles.
You'd be the winner at 227 miles of wrapping paper. This is enough to wrap around the island of Guernsey or cover more than 11,000 football pitches. The average UK household uses 4 rolls of wrapping paper each year. The amount of wrapping paper thrown away each year is equivalent to 108 million rolls. Doesn't make sense, that, does it? We're throwing away 108 million rolls. Oh, is that the whole world? But we're only using 227 miles.
Each roll's not a mile, though, is it? That's
227,000 miles, yeah. That doesn't make sense, does it? We've got that wrong, haven't we? We've got 108 million rolls, 227,000 miles. Oh, of course, yeah, I get it now.
It does work, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does work, yeah.
So there you go, that's your Christmas edition of the business
Just
quiz.
thinking in a,
Do you want another one, though? It's Christmas.
I'm thinking each Each roll is a mile long.
How big would the roll be? Imagine your nan dragging that back from being in stores. Right, nan. Got me wrapping paper.
Right, your turn.
As it's Christmas, let's have another one.
Hey!
We don't need the jingle again, do we? But here we go. Right, so. Celebrations was the most popular chocolate tub in 2023. And quite right too.
Yeah, they're my favourite.
They are amazing. Do you remember before
I
that?
like Bounty.
Do you remember all you could get was roses?
Yeah.
Oh, roses are so sickly these days, aren't they? Celebrations were the most popular chocolate tub in 2023. How many chocolates are there in a 650-gram tub of Celebrations? Right, let's time check this. It's about 40 minutes in. Put your comment, put the time you're watching this and your comment in right now if you want to join in this quiz as well at the same time. So how many chocolates are there in a 650-gram tub of Celebrations?
What have you got?
I'm going 125.
I'm going 45.
45?
Yeah.
God, you're an absolute tight ass. Right, come on then. Oh, I've got the answer, sorry, haven't I? 125 versus 45. The answer is 73 chocolates. Damn it. Bonus question.
Bonus question.
What has been voted? Oh, this is brilliant. Okay, so what has been voted the least popular of the selection out of a Mars, a Twix, a Snickers, a Bounty, a Malteser, a Galaxy Caramel, and a Milky
Galaxy
Way?
Caramel are the waste of time. Get rid of them.
Galaxy Caramel. Just like, have you done it? Have you put this? Oh, you can't join in then. That's annoying.
And Milky Way. They're always the two that are left.
And what's the? Yeah, Milky Way is weird, isn't it? What's the most popular then?
Malteser, I reckon. Is in our house.
You are an absolute chocolate connoisseur.
He's in our house.
Malteser is in fact the most popular chocolate, whilst
Yeah,
Milky
go.
Way is the least popular.
I know. I've had some celebrations in my time.
Won't be this year though, will you?
No.
How do people like Milky Way less than a Bounty? Bounties are it's the devil's food, isn't it?
I love Bounties.
Bounties are vile. Do you remember,
I love
do you remember
Bounty.
dark chocolate Bounty though?
No.
Came in like a purpley packet.
It was red.
Red. He doesn't remember it, but he knows the colour of it. Okay, sure. Right, give them some Christmas cheer as they head off.
Listen, guys, I hope you've. Thank you very much for watching, listening to the podcast. More of you are watching and listening ever before. We hope that we're helping you grow your business, your entrepreneurial career. We hope that you support our listeners. Our guests. If you listen to any of these shows and you think, oh, that was a really good guest, if you could support them with your purchasing power,
yes,
that will be something that we're very, very grateful for, because it really is the guests that make this show.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just facilitate it. If you have a business and you would like to come on and get your business exposed to the many hundreds of thousands of people that listen over the year, we would love to have you on. You can apply on my website, jamessinclair.net. Click on the podcast button and then we will see you there.
There you go. Thank you very much for watching.
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas,
I'll
everybody.
see you in 2025.
I'll see you in about 25 minutes to do the next episode, which is coming out next time, shall we? But
We're making our Easter special next.
We are, yeah. We're having a challenge. Who wears the bunny costume the best? You can't do that sort of stuff
Sponsored by
anymore.
Playboy.
You can't say that anymore. Thank you genuinely for watching and listening this year. We genuinely appreciate it, and hope that you and your family had a fantastic festive period wherever you are watching around the world. And we'll see you on the next episode. Ta-da!